All right, everybody. We're back here. Just got back from thrifting. This morning I went to two thrift stores, got a few things, not a bad, some goodies, not a bad little haul here. I want to show you what I picked up. One of my favorite things to pick up is older toys. This guy here, his name is Rodney Copperbottom, and he was $5.99. He's a figure from 2005, and I really know nothing about him. I did a Google Lens search, and he's selling for about 19-20 bucks. So I figured for 5.99, I also got 20% off that. So for 5 bucks, very cool looking figure, fairly light, easy to ship. Second thing I got was this plastic cup. It's Blue Jays from 1992. That's going to go in my personal collection. It's just, I think, cool to have. I'm a Blue Jays fan, so it's awesome. These guys, this is believe it or not, is an ice cream maker by Yay Labs. And this part screws off, and there's another part that screws off. Anyway, you make ice cream with these. This is something you want to look out for. I've sold this before. The last one I sold for $30. So if you can get them for, decent price. So again, I paid $10, but I had a 20% off coupon. So I'm going to list that for around $30. So should be some decent profit there. Here's something that I'm not terribly familiar with. Paid $10 for this Rainmate 1 liter. I have sold humidifiers before, but not this brand. And I know this brand is very popular in the United States. I'm actually in Canada, so I know they do sell, and they are here in Canada and they are sold. So probably something I'm going to try putting on Posh Park. Not sure, but it was only $10. I tested it in the store. It works fine. It's pretty clean. So I'm gonna try something a little different. Speaking of different, I'm trying to get into selling books and flipping books for a bunch of reasons. They're fairly small. They don't take up a lot of space. You can get them for fairly cheap. So there was a sale going on at this one of the thrift stores that I was at, and they were having 30% off all their media. So I decided to pick up some books, and I think I did okay. Um, this first book down here is Silence of the Lambs, and it's missing the dust cover. It says 1988 there, but it does not say first edition, so I don't think it's very valuable. I only paid for each of these was like a buck 75 a book. If this was a first edition book, I think it would be worth about 25-30 bucks. Because it's not first edition, I would say maybe 10 bucks, not even. So probably not a very good buy, but might even try reading through it a little bit. This book actually sells. It's hardcover again. I paid $1.75. It actually sells for about $15 pre-owned. So I'm gonna have no problem selling that. It's got a 50% sell-through rate, meaning in the last 90 days, 50% of the items or these books listed have sold. So you always want to look at that when you're looking on eBay, is make sure the sell-through rate is decent and whatever you're comfortable with, right? How long do you want to hold on to your inventory for? If you want to, there's a bunch of factors that you can decide in your business how you want to do it. When something's smaller and taking up a lot less space, I'm more inclined to keep it because I can wait, right? And it doesn't take up a lot of space. So if it takes a year to sell, or 6 months, or 8 months, then that's fine with me. This is an interesting book. It printed in the United States, so it's a little bit older. What interests me is the title. There's nothing coming up when I scan the UPC. There's some listed on eBay for $40. There's no solds, so I'm gambling really on this one. But I think it's in really good shape. I think if I undercut it for only paying $1.75, if I list it for 20 bucks, somebody should be wanting to pick it up. This is interesting. Just an old Disney Colossal Comics, little mini comic book. Scanned it. There are some solds. It's not, high sell-through rate, maybe 10%, 12%, somewhere around there. Again, going for maybe 15 bucks. I might keep it for myself in my personal collection. Another thing, lastly here we have is these Goosebump stuffs. Goosebump stuffs from the 90s, so the older Goosebump stuff. As you know, it's pretty hot. It's pretty popular. I was around in the 90s and I watched the stuff and I collected a little bit here and there. kind of a fan. I'm not a super fan, but I definitely think the art's cool, right? I mean, this guy's, I think his name's Curly, right? I've sold some of his stuff before, but there's a sold on here from the beginning of April on eBay for I believe $15 for this magazine. It's in okay shape. Yeah, it's just an old magazine. Pretty cool. So I'm gonna read through it and probably list that one. And lastly, is this just, soft cover, How to Kill a Monster, R.L. Stine Goosebumps book. This is in pretty good condition, and it's going to go be lotted up with other Goosebumps books that I find, because it's on its own, it's not worth that much. But again, I only paid like $1.75 for each of these, so I'm good with that. But that's the haul, and not too bad. Not too bad for two thrift stores. All right. Remember to keep learning, have fun. Bye.